XP farming is honestly my most hated part of a playthrough. This right here is the #1 reason why I usually drop playthroughs, is because I just don't have the mental fortitude to sit here for God knows how long and farm McZafford for XP. Because it really isn't that hard of a thing to do. I just have to be doing it constantly. And I think that's the part that kills me, is that I just don't want to. I mean, it's a game. The rest of the game up to this point was decently paced. And then you beat UVHM, and then there's a brick wall in front of you. You have to now farm XP for... Well, as soon as you start normal, or as soon as you beat True, you go into UVHM, you have to farm XP for 20-something levels. I know I said it earlier. Well, earlier in the video, but this is about a day ago at this point. But assuming you beat UVHM's main story at level 55, you have to farm... I think, what is it, like 25? Yeah, you have to farm 25 levels straight off of, well, ideally the most efficient source, which is McZafford. And I just skipped a Maggie. Oops. I really thought about just modding the game to make this part less annoying, but I don't know what to do about that. I don't know if I want to do that. I feel like it wouldn't be as rewarding to reach level 80 if I just skipped to level 80 and then remove the entire grind, but I'm so serious when I say that this grind is the worst one in the entire game. This is worse than, like, pearl farming. Because at least when you're pearl farming, it's... something is happening. It's not... You know, you have odds. You're playing with odds. Where this is 100% just, I need to get over a wall that takes very long to get over. What I'm trying to say is, I'm not waiting for something to happen. I'm working towards this. Where with the pearls, it can happen at literally any time. It can happen in one run. It can happen in 500 runs. It can happen multiple times in a row. This is just unavoidable. This is something that has to be done every single playthrough, and it's so boring. I don't know, maybe that's just more of a reason why I should do it. A bit philosophical. Because maybe it's just part of the experience of what Borderlands is just this very monotonous grind for 25 levels. And avoiding it would be removing from the experience. However, I have means of completely circumnavigating that, so I'm not... So now I'm like, okay, well maybe I should just do that and save myself the trouble. But what if saving the trouble is removing from the overall enjoyment of a playthrough? You know, what if that's a bad idea, because then getting to the end won't be nearly as rewarding because I didn't do the most frustrating part of the game. And maybe it's not that deep. Maybe I'm just overcomplicating it. Maybe taking the easiest route is just most of the time the better option, because then you can avert your focus to other things that aren't what's stopping you. But I really do think about that sometimes, like, what if I just take the easier route and then go focus on stuff that's not what I'm currently doing? And I guess that's up to whoever's dealing with the problem. Like, and I think this applies to more than just McZafford farming. Because you can do a myriad of easy methods and easy ways out, and there's probably an infinite number of easy solutions for whatever problem you're dealing with. But did you really solve the problem if you copied what someone else did? Well, I mean, yeah, you went out and did it. You copied what they did. You fixed your problem. It was your issue that they weren't going to fix unless you saw what they did. Not they, but whatever your, I guess, inspiration would be to help with an issue. Because if you put it on, if you, like, Not maximize, what am I trying to say? Like, if you take what I'm saying, right? And you put them next to each other, you put the easy solution and the hard solution. They both get you to the same place. You end up at the same fork in the road. Or, you end up at the same goal. Because right now, for example, my goal is to get to level 80. Now I can sit here and farm him for 10 hours straight and get 5,298 XP every single time. Or I can just skip to level 80 and then up my Maggie to level 80. And then... Oh, I ran out of ammo. Oh, what is that? Not what I need. I need ammo. That's what I need. Actually, I'm just gonna kill him. Should drop ammo. No? Okay. Or do I just take... I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, yeah. The only two difference between the two is the difficulty. It's not that doing it harder is gonna get me anywhere physically different. I mean, it'll feel less rewarding mentally because, you know, I didn't deal with that challenge, but is that challenge something that I need to feel rewarded? Or is the rest of UVHM enough for me? Is the part that I am actually enjoying the game enough for me? I could be doing things that are worse right now. Like being homeless or suffering. It is raining outside. I could be out in the rain, in the cold. And I guess this is more comfortable than that. But then it's like, okay, well then do I want to appreciate this and go sit out in the rain for 4 hours? I'm not sure. Would that get me anywhere? Would I feel more rewarding by playing this game if I went out and sat in the rain for a couple hours? I'm not sure. Kind of makes me want to go sit out in the rain for a couple hours and just see how I feel. Because in the end, there's nothing stopping me from going outside. But then what if I get sick? Because then that'll just throw everything out of whack. Is that just an excuse, though, that I'm making because I don't want to go out and sit in the rain? Well, no. Well, maybe. Because I don't want to do that, because that's very uncomfortable. But is that what I need to do to feel rewarded by something as monotonous as this farm? I mean, think about it. I'm playing a video game right now. I should be enjoying myself. That's the whole point. If I'm not enjoying myself, what's the point of playing? Well, I am enjoying myself. It's just delayed gratification. Well, is it delayed gratification? I'm going to be here for like 10 hours and gain the exact same thing I could have gotten if I just skipped to that point. Yeah, but skipping to that point isn't exactly... isn't nearly as rewarding as just doing it naturally. Well, yeah, doing it naturally is always going to be more rewarding. But is it worth the time sink? Is it worth the effort? Because of course it's going to be more rewarding, but is that... If I were to take the two things and think of them as two objects in real life and compare them to each other, would my effort to do it naturally be smaller than the reward if I did it through delayed gratification? Like, would it be worth it to do it? Can this thing stop clicking, please? What is going on? If I take my effort that is going into this and quantify, that's the word I wanted to use. If I quantify my effort and compare it to the quantified version of the reward, would it be more? Or would it be, yeah, would it be more effort to do this than it's worth? Or would it just be better to cut to the chase and skip to that point? And I mean, yeah, it would always be more rewarding, but is it worth the effort to do it the quote-unquote rewarding way? Well, maybe. I don't know yet. I haven't done it yet, and I know if I do it, then I'm gonna know, but if I also level up, I don't know. I guess that's just up to whoever it is. But, I mean, humans are naturally gonna pick the easier route with things just because, I mean, it's easier, it's gonna require less effort that, like I said earlier, is able to be put towards other things that are probably more important than what I'm currently doing, like eating or brushing my teeth. Would I feel more mental clarity from doing things the harder way? Can I handle doing things the harder way all the time? Because, I mean, grit only gets you so far. Because let's say someone is horribly disfigured, right? I mean, okay, well, this is a very drastic hypothetical, but let's say someone is, like, horribly disfigured and they got to this point in the game, right? Would it be worth the effort for them to just do this? Well, I don't know, I'm not horribly disfigured, but I would assume no. Because this isn't fun or rewarding. This would be a lot more effort for them than it would be for me. Because, I mean, think about it this way. They got to this point and it was all fun enough to keep playing, and then this drop, this extreme drop in gameplay, not progress, but like, it gets way harder to keep pushing with this sort of thing. But then, someone in a situation like that probably already has a lot of grit if they're playing through the entire game. And I mean, I don't really have anything wrong with me, physically. I mean, arthritis is annoying, but it's not. I mean, I still have my limbs. Not going to compare myself to someone who's a quadriplegic, that just wouldn't even be fair. But I mean, if I take the progress that I've made so far and quantify it, and then compare it to the reward that I might or might not feel after beating this, I don't know if it'd be worth it. And maybe this is just a person-by-person thing. Maybe this just depends on who you are, and there's no right or wrong answer. Yeah, but everyone needs to eventually push through things they don't want to deal with. It's how you exist. If everything were easy, then you're just going to blow up when something gets difficult. Of course, if you have no practice in something, you're going to suck when it gets difficult. But if you just take... Does that mean everything needs to be difficult all the time because you always need to be practicing? Well, always learning is a thought process that you are always that always practicing your craft is a good thing to do because you're always ahead of the curve. But when do you just get to chill? When do you just get to skip to the end because you don't want to? When you get to just lay down and actually enjoy what you're doing instead of constantly grinding and pushing and just suffering. When do you get to enjoy what your reward? When do you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor? At what point do you just go, huh, I actually did that? Because let's say, right? Let's say I had multiple saves. Or let's say I had an infinite number of saves that were at level 55, and I had to get all of them to level 80 with this method. At what point do I play the character I got to level 80 on and continue my playthrough and enjoy the rest of that playthrough? At what point do I do that instead of just infinitely, because I'm making progress, like it's good and it's kind of admirable to some to constantly be on that grind set, but what about the person who is on that grind set? What about their perspective? What if they just never get to enjoy anything because they are constantly doing stuff, they are constantly working towards something that will be infinitely far away because it's not really a thing you can work towards when you just get to relax? And I think that's the main thing that I find confusing about grit in general and that Sigma male grind set, because yeah, it is good to better yourself all the time. It's always going to be good to constantly be getting better at something, or especially your physical self or your mental self, or constantly securing, oh, I just missed a Maggie, constantly securing a thing, constantly securing your future, but when do you stop? When do you just go, oh, I've done enough. I've secured my future enough for my liking. Like, when is the point where you stop doing that and just enjoy what you've already worked so hard to do? Because because maybe it's the way my brain works, I'm not really sure, but I do feel like that there is a point where overworking is not worth it, and there is a point where being lazy is not worth it. There's some balance to that, and that's kind of something I consistently come back to whenever I start thinking like this, where it's like, okay, there's always going to be a balance to it. That just seems to be a repeating factor, yin and yang type stuff. I can't swear because I don't want to drop my Maggie. Yin and yang sort of thing where Maggie. Yin and yang sort of thing where you just don't want to throw off that balance, even though your brain wants so... Also, I just got ruined. That's nice. That's going to make this a lot faster. Yin and yang type stuff where you don't want to throw off that balance. You want to keep on that balance, but there's not really a way to do that. It just kind of happens naturally. But that's like the scariest part, is that you're never really in control of what's going on. And I mean, yeah, you can... Oh, okay, that killed him way faster. You can secure the rest of your life, and you can constantly work towards something, but at the end of the day, you have literally no control if a car just hits you out of nowhere, and you should have just actually enjoyed yourself instead of being on that grind set. Like, what if you put all this effort into it, and it just blows up in your face, and you wasted your time? Maybe that's just an excuse to not work. Maybe that's just an excuse, you know, maybe you always should be working really hard towards stuff, because that might never happen to you. That will more than likely never happen to anybody. But it doesn't even have to be like going outside and getting blasted by a 16-wheeler, but it's like, what if the effort wasn't worth it, is kind of what I'm getting at. What if you're working towards this thing that is so infinitely far away that no matter how much effort you put into it, doing it the hard way will not be as rewarding. It just can't be as rewarding. What's the word I want to use? It's that thing where the more effort you put in, the further down you go, the less it's gonna be rewarding. And I think that's a really important part of living, is just, if you just push yourself all the time to do everything the hard way, the cool way, the admirable way, then you have no time to actually enjoy the things that you're, like the whole reason you're doing this in the first place. You're not enjoying that. And that's kind of why I wanted to avoid doing the ranked YouTube, because it's like, okay, well, I can do ranked YouTube, but then... I just missed another Maggie. But then by the time, you know, let's say everything does work perfectly in order because I put the effort in. I'm not enjoying YouTube anymore. It's turned into a job at that point. And that was the whole reason I wanted to do it, was just so I actually enjoy what I'm doing, and it's not draining on me like a 9 to 5. So that's another thing where it's like, is the effort worth it? Is it? I don't get what I want once I actually put in the effort required to get what I want. So why even try? Well, because eventually it'll be rewarding, because of that fancy little delayed gratification, that dopamine hit that hits way harder if you wait for it to build up. Well, yeah, but doesn't that kind of sound like crack? If you wait to take more crack, or nicotine, or any other drug. And I mean, yeah, but dopamine is natural. It's what the brain naturally produces. That's why you can't get addicted to it. You can't naturally get addicted to your own dopamine hits, because your brain produces them, and it's unbiased to what you want it to do. And I mean, you could sit here and think about it all day. You can sit here and ponder everything all the time. But you're never going to have enough time to do everything that you just thought about. You know, I could go out and sit in the rain. I am thinking about it still. The difference between thinking about going in the rain and going in the rain is the part where I think about it, and the part where I actually sit in the grass and feel the cold rain on my skin and shiver and get really cold and possibly get sick and learn that I shouldn't go sit out in the rain because I thought about it while playing a Borderlands game. But is that what I need to do to enjoy a Borderlands game? Is go sit out in the rain for an hour? Go get cold, get sick, and feel horrible in order to enjoy the things? Well, I think that kind of ties back to what I was talking about. Where is it worth the effort? Is it worth going out and sitting in the rain and getting sick to feel enjoyable about Borderlands? Or should I take the easy way and just go do something else? I guess in this case, skip to level 80. I'm not really sure. I think that it's always going to be less rewarding to do the easier way. Like, if you quantify it, you will end up with less reward points if you do the less effort. But at what point does effort kind of scale higher than the reward you're gaining from it? When you find that sweet spot, that golden point where those lines intersect and the effort crosses the barrier for reward. Because it isn't really, it's not a linear thing, it's an exponential thing. The more effort you put in exponentially, the more reward you get back seemingly linearly. Or maybe it's also exponential, it just doesn't curve as hard. But then again, there's taking breaks. You know, I could just take a break and it wouldn't be as hard if I just sat down and did something else for a little bit of time. But I want it done now. I need it done now. I need to get a video out. I need to grind in order to get what I want. Yeah, but is it worth it to get is it worth it to grind to get what I want? Is it worth it to put in those absurd hours and possibly be late on a deadline because I want to do it my way? Is it worth that? Is it worth the stress of falling off the wagon of posting at a consistent rate? Well, I kind of have to make it worth it, don't I? By putting in more effort and getting that reward to be higher. Yeah, but at what point is the reward not worth it? At what point do I just actually enjoy what I'm doing with no stress and not feeling like I'm constantly behind on things? Like, at what point are these majors and high reward and high stress just too much for me? Because again, doing the things the hard way is always going to be more rewarding, but they're always going to be more stressful. They're always going to be harder. That's why they're harder. They're always going to be so much more stressful on you. But is that stress worth it? I mean, I'm not enjoying anything. I'm sitting here doing the exact same thing over and over again for hours on end. But this has just captivated my attention so much, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not going anywhere else. I'm literally just playing this game right now when I have other things I probably should be doing. Yeah, but it's my way. It's more satisfying when it's my way. Because I did it my way and I got it done anyway, even though it was harder. But is it worth the stress? Because in the end, I'm going to end up at the same result. It's just going to be less rewarding, less mentally rewarding, but equally as physically rewarding. This actually reminds me a lot of when I used to play Elden Ring. I got really heavy into that game when it came out. And I'm no joke, I played the entire game like 13 times total. I mastered parrying, which is one of the hardest mechanics to get good at. I memorized the location, not on purpose, this just happened as I was playing the game and getting really into it. I memorized the locations of everything. I memorized the patterns of everything. I constantly grinded to get the results that I wanted from the boss fights I was doing. And in the end, I didn't like the game anymore because of all this effort I put in, and it just didn't feel rewarding. I mean, it hit a point where parry only killing Melania was not rewarding. I didn't get that rush anymore because it got easy. So is the answer to making things harder to just always make things harder? Do I always feel stressed out and behind on deadlines so I can feel rewarded? That's draining. And I mean, think about it. Do I want to live a life where I just never feel like I'm ahead and then I just die? Is that something I want to do? I can go sit out in the rain. Is it worth it to go? Do I learn anything valuable from sitting out in the rain? Do I learn anything valuable from pushing myself to every limit imaginable and never feeling rewarded from anything ever. I also don't know what possessed me to be so philosophical today, and I don't even know how long I've been talking for. I'm not really sure what the answer to any of these questions are. That's kind of why I keep asking them, because I'm hoping I'm going to get somewhere with this, to some final conclusion. Oh, Maggie. Oh, that's perfect, Maggie. I want that. I'm hoping I get to a conclusion at some point. But I just kind of keep mulling over everything and not really getting anywhere with it. I mean, think about it. I've been talking for how long? Almost an hour now. And I still don't know what to do. And I mean, I put effort in. Am I in too deep? Well, that's just a stupid mentality that people say to rationalize their quick decision behavior. I mean, is it? Is it worth it to throw away the effort you've put in once you understand that you're putting an effort into a dead well? A well that's already run dry before you got to the bottom of it? Well, I think it's worth it to give up sometimes. I genuinely think it is a good idea to give up sometimes. Because then I'm in situations where I'm miserable. And I just don't want to be miserable. And I understand that boredom is the key to creativity, and being miserable is part of being alive. But I genuinely don't think that is the case. I don't think you need to be miserable to feel rewarded. You don't need that graph where it's waving up and down constantly. Because no matter what I do, I'm not going to be satisfied, right? I'm going to do a million Elden Ring runs, the hardest game I've ever played and mastered. And that's not going to be satisfying. Or I just not push myself hard at all and avoid the stress, and that's not going to be satisfying. So maybe this is just a me problem. You know, maybe there isn't an answer to this that is just online, or that I can follow someone else's philosophy and have it help me. And sure, there's maybe bits and pieces with that balance. So, like, yeah, I can sit here and grind all day, and or I can skip to it, and it's like, there's not a right or wrong answer to that. It's just, what do I want to do? Well, at the moment, I want to grind for it. You know, because I kind of like this oddly interesting topic to talk about. But I gotta be doing other things. I gotta go to work. I gotta help people. I gotta fucking actually brush my teeth today. Drop Maggie. But for some reason today, I just don't want to. Now, is that the easier way or the hard way? Well, I mean, brushing my teeth is honestly way easier for me than it is to do this. You know, if I just got off right now and took a break by brushing my teeth and taking care of my things that I'm supposed to be doing, I mean, yeah, I could also level up. I could do that. Is it something I want to do? Do I want to do that? I don't really know, because I can do that, but I didn't do it my way. You know, I folded under the pressure. I didn't push through it. I didn't deal with the terrible smelling breath and the body pain and this yucky smell of my sweat glands for long enough, or the greasy hair. But if I set unrealistically high standards for myself and push towards them infinitely, and then eventually my body's gonna not like it. Eventually my body's gonna collapse under all the pressure, and it's not gonna want it anymore. Is that what it takes to feel satisfied with my actions? Is to just almost die in the process? Well, there's no way that's it either. Because there's people who save 1 million lives and still feel survivor's guilt. And those people did amazing things that probably took a lot of effort. It probably took a lot of effort for them to go save people, to go help people, to fight the urge to run away. But in the end, they didn't feel satisfied with their actions. They felt like they can do more. They felt like they should be doing something else. And I mean, I'm not a hero. I've never saved a life or anything like that, but I do think that it's a similar situation where it's like, I can do so much and yet not feel satisfied, but doing so little just feels easier on me. But what about the other people in my life? I mean, it's easier to sit there and let them do their own thing and separate myself from everyone else, but I'm alone. And that sucks. Because if I'm alone, then I don't have anyone to care about my achievements. No one cares about what I'm doing. Because, I mean, think about it. Why do anything if no one's gonna care? Why go to work if you're not gonna get paid? Why would I do YouTube videos if every single time they showed up 0 views? Well, I mean, eventually they might show up at a number that actually is interesting to advertisers. They might mean something someday. Yeah, but what if I put all this effort in and get hit by a car? What if I drop every little... My phone went off. Phone went off again. And I mean... Oh, he just dropped an E-Tech. I don't think I've ever seen him drop an E-Tech. It's interesting. And I want to do these amazing things. I really do. Is it worth it? Is it ever going to be worth it? It has to be, right? I mean, it's an amazing thing to do amazing things. Think about it. Is it worth it to go into a building and save a bunch of people? Well, I mean, yeah, you saved a lot of people, but, like, what about yourself? What about the people who live with the survivor's guilt of, oh, I should have saved more people? What about that mindset that is kind of a double-edged sword where you do wonderful things but never feel enough for them? You are always moving on to the next thing. You never enjoy what you've done. I could do a million Elden Ring runs and do stuff that no one's ever done before. I can make videos that are so perfect that they just attract the attention of everything. That they just magnetize entire planets to them. But a video like that would be so hard to make that I might... I mean, a video like that, I might die in the process. God knows what the content for that would be. I mean, it might be worth it to some people. I personally don't want to break my back and peel my skin off to just try. You know, I want to make it. I don't want to just try, I want to get there. Yeah, but where am I getting? Like, what am I achieving? If it's all up in the air and nothing's guaranteed, then certainly it'd be the most logical solution to do the option that has the most guarantees, that has the highest success rate. Well, I mean, yeah, you know, it would be smarter to do that, but would it be as enjoyable? Because there's less gambling involved than going to a 9 to 5 and saving your money. But it's like this, where there's just a wall in front of you, you gotta push towards it. But instead of this, it's what if it's pearl farming? What if I compare it to pearl farming, where it's like I might just never get a pearl ever again in my entire life, or I get that really big dopamine hit when I get a 1 in 50 drop odds on a 3-minute fight. And I guess a way to compare it to YouTube is, what if I make that video, that one video that attracts all the attention I need it to, that gets me all the watch time I need it to, that does everything I need it to do, and it was just enough effort, so I don't have to rip my bones out on camera in order to get attention. Well, what if it's just barely enough, and that's fine by me? But I need it to be perfect, I need it to be enjoyable, I need it to be something I'm proud of. Well, when's it gonna be something I'm proud of? Because the mindset required to infinitely push like that never enjoys the fruits of their labor. They never enjoy what they're doing, because it can always be better. Also, level up. Maybe I can just turn this into a video. But that's the easy way. I don't know. I do have to go brush my teeth today, because due to my physical demand, I still need to take care of myself. So, yeah. I think I'm done for today. If you enjoyed the video, have a nice day. This is definitely a lot different energy from really anything that I've ever made. Because most of the time I'll do the stoic guide tutorials that have all of the information and, you know, and they're what I consider to be a good video, but today's just different for some reason. But if you like that different, then be sure to subscribe, because I'm sure I'm gonna have more days like this, especially if that number blows up. You know, it'll be more rewarding to talk about things that attract people. Either way, I hope you have a nice day, whoever you are, whoever's watching this.